Welcome to Season 5 of Talking Home Renovations with the House Maven. I'm your host, Catherine McPhail. I am an architect practicing in Massachusetts. My passion is old houses, new technologies, and sustainability. Previous seasons of this podcast have featured many vendors, subcontractors, architects, designers, covering many aspects of renovations and hiring professionals to help. In this season, I'll be focusing on collecting even more renovation stories because we can all learn from each other and I just can't resist talking to people about their houses. This episode is about a woman's relationship with her house, a Gothic Revival in New Jersey dating back to 1770. Donna on Instagram as Want to Be Decorator shares her experience with me and her advice about old houses. Welcome to the show, Donna.
Thank you.
Your house is a 1770. It was built,
Yes.
right? But then it is now a Gothic kind of style.
It's Gothic Revival.
Revival.
Yeah. So you can really identify that by the peaks and the like embellishments on the front of the house on the porch. Yeah.
How did you find the house, or have you always loved old houses, or did you happen upon it, or how did that come to be?
It's funny. I grew up in a split level. So I didn't know I loved old houses. I just always felt like an old soul. So my ex-husband and I never felt comfortable in the town that I lived in before, meaning it's a beautiful town, but it wasn't like, I never felt at home. And I did live in a Tudor, and it was from 1920. And I said to my ex-husband, I was like, you know what? I want a farmhouse. I want to stop working. I want a farmhouse. So we were looking in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, beautiful stone farmhouses. We came across, I was driving through the town that he grew up in, which is New Providence, New Jersey. And I saw this house that I'm in now for sale with a for sale sign. I'm like, there's a house right here. It's 20 minutes away from where we live. And it's in the town that you grew up in. And we have a business right down the road. And he's like, which house? I didn't see anything. And I told him, he goes, oh my God, I grew up loving that house. Oh. So we ended up not going to Bucks County. We ended up moving here. It was at the height of the market. So we took all the proceeds from that other house and put them right into this house. So I feel very fortunate. I think it's timing and a lot of other things to be here.
Yeah, that's lucky. And your business was right down the road?
Yeah, we owned a deli and liquor store down the road. I never stopped working. I'm still, career woman, which probably is best for me anyway. I realize I probably would have lasted at home maybe a year.
So have you had to do a lot of work, or what was the condition of the house when you got the house?
So honestly, structurally, very, very good for a 253-year-old home. To be honest, there was nothing that was on the list that had to be done immediate in terms of what I knew before I moved in. Unfortunately, which I wish there's a way that companies would allow people to wait until there's a big rainstorm to buy a house. Yeah. But no after I moved in, within a month, there was a big rainstorm and there were leaks in about 4 different spots in the house. I just was livid. I was very upset and livid because I felt kind of blindsided a bit that there was maybe a cover up. Now, I don't know. The people are lovely that I bought it from. But what that had to do was it elevated the priority list for me. So right away, new roof. Like there was nothing that we could do. So we invested. So I would say invest in your home like it's your future and you're protecting your asset, because it is usually the biggest asset that people have. So instead of a regular roof, asphalt, I guess it's called, we got the cedar shake shingles done.
Oh, very nice.
And that was the best investment. Unfortunately, it wasn't planned or expected, but I haven't had to worry since, not one drop of rain.
Oh, good. I think people sometimes are just, maybe it's not a cover up so much. They're just kind of looking forward to getting their house sold. And so.
Yeah, like I said, I love them. They follow my Instagram. They're always commenting, about how they enjoy the updates I've done. That could be the opposite where they're like, we hate what you've done. But so they're lovely. I'd never, ever said a word to them. So if they hear this, they're going to hear about it. I've never mentioned it to them.
Okay. So then you have a beautiful new cedar roof.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of the house on the inside what was the situation there?
There was a lot of wallpaper. There are a lot of plaster walls. So there's a lot of waves in the walls and things like that. Also, when I moved in, looked at the home, everything was even. But when I brought my own furniture, everything was lopsided because all the floors are like, I guess, slanted towards the center. So every piece of furniture, almost every piece of furniture I have is on little blocks, especially downstairs. Upstairs, not so much, but downstairs.
Wow.
So that was also something where I was like, what do you do? And you don't do anything. You just level it up. There's nothing you can really do unless you're willing to like do whole new support for the first floor. But I looked past all the paint and the wallpaper, the rug. That's another thing. Don't get hung up on old rugs. Like I watch House Hunters a lot and people are like, I don't like the paint color. I don't like the rug. I'm like, those are the easiest, most inexpensive things to do.
Yeah.
It's more about those other big things. Like if you see the bones are good, you can work with anything pretty much.
That is true. It's to my advantage that other people don't look beyond the paint or the, other cosmetic things they don't like. Because it is really easy to change that. But yeah, some people just want a move-in ready house, which I'm going to say most old houses aren't. Even new houses. I mean, you're not going to like all the paint colors people choose and tiles and things like that. So where do you get these blocks? Do you just make them up? Are they shingles?
Yeah, my dad is super handy, thank God. And so he'll just go to the, the barn or his little garage and cut me, little blocks. So yeah, if somebody's looking for a new house on, and is listening in, do not be scared, but I didn't know to look for that, but they had all their stuff on. They told me afterward. I didn't know.
Oh, because the couch looked level, but it turned out that it was
not. I just didn't even think to look. I was more like intrigued by all the character and all that of the home.
Yeah. I think that's the thing we have to concentrate on is the character of the home. Because if you're looking for a flat floor, you're probably not going to find it. So that's what I've been telling myself. You have a beautiful way of filling your house with life, it looks like to me. Like there's a lot of personality in there. Would you mind talking a little bit about that?
Sure. I mean, in the past, I was wondering, like, how did I even develop this style? And I couldn't quite figure it out. And then I thought back to my mom, and my mom loved plants. She still she's still around, but she loves little tchotchkes. That's an American word. I'm first generation Italian. So she'd have like little statues and things all around, pictures, and she loved going to garage sales. So at the time, she'd collect just things that were cheap or that caught her eye, that this is cute. And she'd bargain. And I'd be so embarrassed. I'd be like, oh my God, I can't. Now I took her place. But my point is, she had a mishmash of things. It wasn't necessarily that they were a ton of money or valuable, but they appealed to her for some reason or another. Now, I would say my mom is a little bit more cluttered and doesn't necessarily put them together the same way I do, but she loves them just the same, everything she has in her home. So where I believe my style has grown from is from my mom. Like she's thrifty and she'll just like go and grab something because it appeals to her and she loves it. I think I have another quality or skill, which is, putting things together in a way that's appealing, right, to the masses, maybe more so than just, yourself, unique. And like we were chatting prior to this, to me, it's about balance and weight. Like it could be a $5 picture against $1,000 print that I invested in or a painting. Yeah. They can go on the same wall. It's about balance.
Yeah, it's true. And also different textures and patterns and things, which you have all over with the lampshades and your curtains. I'm just kind of inspired by it because a lot of people think of these colonial houses as having colonial furnishings and things, but it really doesn't have to be period furniture. It could just be like an eclectic collection of things.
Right. It's not like I never wanted a home where it's like you bought the whole showroom because you want to keep people curious and interested as they're walking. That's what everybody says. What did you do now? Like, let me walk around because it piques their interest. It gives them ideas too. And I'm not ashamed of how I put anything together. I just love it. And listen, I go to thrift shops, flea markets. I'll stop at a garage sale. I'll also, if I fall in love with something that's more expensive, I'll save up for it. And it becomes an heirloom for my kids and my family. My kids love everything. And They even say, don't ever sell that. Don't sell. They don't want me to get rid of anything.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a feeling of comfort, and whatever you define it to be, it's yours. You own it.
Right.
So,
yeah. So don't try to please other people. Just do what
right.
you love. You're living in your house.
Yeah. I look at pictures a lot, to be honest with you, too, certain magazines.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, layering and texture just gives interest. Like I'll put all kind of patterns together. There just has to be some kind of commonality, whether it's a color, a theme, a weight to it. You want a light with a heavier, feel, aesthetic. A fur pillow with something that's more solid and a little bit heavier fabric. So
Mm-hmm.
it's fun. It's a lot of, like I said, balance and weight for me.
I love fur stuff. It's just fun.
I have so many. My kids are like, you're bringing home another. Like I have so many fur benches and stools. I think almost every room has something furry in it.
It's like, little pets around the house that just sit there. So that's more convenient. Well, so getting back to your house, do you know what the history is of your house or?
Yeah, my house is actually in our town book. Every town publishes, almost every town, a book about the history of their town.
Mm-hmm.
So it's in there, which I'm pretty proud of. It started out as, it was somebody's home. I think it's the second oldest home in town. I argue that it's the first, but I have to really go and do some research.
Mm-hmm.
It was a stagecoach stop. It was an apple orchard. It was also a place where everybody in town would meet. So my dining room is very big.
Oh, nice.
But I was told that the chairs would be pushed all to the sides. There was no real table and everybody would just sit there and chat. So that was the meeting room. Also, people in town were waked here. It was the only place in town. So if somebody passed, people were waked in my parlor.
Ooh.
Yeah. Never scared here, though. I've never seen anything. I've had a couple weird things happen, but nothing where I was like, oh my God, I can't live here, or there's ghosts. Never.
Well, just because they're a ghost doesn't mean they're, evil spirits or anything.
Yeah. So that's the story. And then there's only been about 6 families than me that have lived here in 253 years. So people are like, I was told when I moved in, you're really a caretaker for this home.
Yeah.
You're here for a certain time and then you pass it on to somebody else kind of thing.
Yep, that's true. It sounds like your house is more of a public type space. The house I grew up in was kind of like that too. People would stop there. It was just kind of one of those places people would stop and ask to use the phone. This is before cell phones.
Oh, wow.
Or all these just random people would show up at our house. I guess it was just kind of like, it was an old house too. I don't know. It's just sometimes some houses feel like they're part of the town fabric more than other houses. Maybe it's location or whatever. Are you right in the middle of town?
I am not. I'm outside of downtown, but on the main road. So, and at a cross street where there's a traffic light. So everybody knows my house and they actually look for my decorations for every holiday. And if I don't have them up, they're like, are you putting up decorations this year? Are you doing Halloween? So it's actually puts pressure on me, which is good. So I can't procrastinate. But it's actually nice to see people looking at my house when they're at the stoplight. And a lot of times people will wave and say, I love your house. I love your flowers. It makes me feel good because I'm pretty proud, especially that, I'm a single mom. I've lived here longer alone than with my ex-husband. And I've been here 17 years. So I've been able to maintain it and improve on it much more so than I did when I was married. So for me, it's like particularly special when people say that.
I can see why you're proud of it. It looks great. So what improvements have you made to the house?
Oh, boy. Besides the roof, a lot of cosmetic stuff. I've updated my bathroom. I did it all with Facebook Marketplace items, so on a budget. That was super fun. My kids' bathroom, I updated there as well. And I have to say, I decided to go with a lower estimate on the person that did the work, and they did it on the side. I would caution that and go more in the middle because they didn't know how to work with an old house as much and took a lot of shortcuts, which kind of caused me some extra money down the road.
Yeah.
I've redone the kitchen altogether, completely gutted. It started out as a small project. It ended up into a complete gut in the kitchen. And I moved my laundry room and the wood floors. So upstairs, every floor is exposed. I have no rugs at all. And probably 90% of my home is hard wide plank flooring original.
Yeah.
Upstairs, there was some lead paint, so I had to go over the floor in 2 rooms, but they're wide plank flooring, floors, and There's 2 rooms that have tile that I haven't replaced yet. So I'm still kind of working on like that project next. I've done the porch. I've redone the whole porch. It was sinking. I kind of wait till everything's just about to fall because I like to maintain the character. So I was like, it's time for the porch. So the whole porch was ripped off and put actually back in much better shape with every detail done. Okay. And then the outside I've done patio. And so I guess I've done a lot. I pick one project a year. That's how I've been doing it. Yeah. Especially since I've been on my own. Mm-hmm.
So am I remembering correctly that you had gutted your kitchen and there was a newspaper that you found? So tell me about that. That's one
of my stories. So my cousin and I have similar interests. Like we love Cape Cod. We love going antiquing. So they had just tore down, I guess, all of the plaster. Mm-hmm. So I come home and my builder is like completely, he looks like a ghost. I was cracking up for like 5 minutes, completely white. And I'm like, oh my God, what happened? He's like, we took down everything. It's so dusty. And I'm like, oh, I was like, what's up there? And I look up and I see newspaper stuffed in, like the right by the ceiling where the wall joins the ceiling. I'm like, oh my God, there's newspaper up there. I wonder how old it is. Mm-hmm. And I call my cousin. He leaves. I'm like, you have to come here. I was like, we have to do this together. Can you believe there's, newspaper up there? She's like, I'm coming right over. She lives 15 minutes away. So I go in, she gets there, we get on a ladder. I pull out a piece of newspaper and I open it up and I look at the bottom of the newspaper and it says, I can't remember the exact date, but I think like June 25th. And I look at her and I say, what's today's date? And she's like, June 25th. Mm-hmm. So I pulled out the paper the same exact day.
Wow.
That we were standing there and we were just like, oh my God, that is weird. It was the weirdest feeling, a sign that maybe I belong there. I don't know, but unusual to say the least.
Yeah, that's a fun coincidence. What year was it? Do you remember?
I don't remember. I don't remember. I was just so stuck on
the date.
And I looked for it before I made that post on Instagram. I thought I must have saved this somewhere, but I couldn't find it.
Yeah, that would be a fun thing to have on the wall, like a little piece of
She's my witness, though. She was here.
Yeah. Do you have any other stories like that?
Yeah, I have one other interesting one because people always say this place is haunted. We've heard in town. I'm like, it's not haunted. I swear I've never seen anything. But one weird thing happened. It was like a couple weeks after I moved in, and we have a smokehouse. The smokehouse never used to be attached to the house, but the previous owners attached it to my home. So I'm coming in the side door. There's a door knocker on the side door, and then there's a door knocker on the door to the kitchen because it used to be a regular door, right? Mm-hmm. So it was still there. The smokehouse is attached. So I was walking past it, and all of a sudden, it pops off the door. Screws and everything. It was screwed in. Like it was not loose. Screws and everything, pops off the door, flies onto the floor. And I was just like, oh my God, what the heck? There had to be loose screws. Listen, it was not lopsided. Everything was there. So to me, that was weird, very strange. That is the only thing like that ever happened. I did mention it to the homeowners. I'm like, I never put it back on, by the way. Yeah. And I eventually removed that door. Wow. When I did the kitchen. I asked the previous homeowners, I'm like, oh my God, this weird thing. They're like, well, they like to walk back and forth. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, who's they?
She's like, they like to walk back and forth because you can go from the smokehouse right straight through to the dining room to the front door. And I was like, well, we probably closed the door a few times, right? So I was like, all right, I don't know what that means, but I'm just going to get rid of the door, not put the door knocker on, and that's it. And nothing ever happened since then.
Wow. Who's they? Did they say who they, what? Who did she mean by that?
No, they were implying, I guess, ghosts or people that lived here before.
Okay. Well, so even from another dimension, they can still have an impact on the design of the house, I guess, by making you remove the door.
Right.
Well, that's good to know. It's good to know. That'll give us something to do later to get other people to do what we want.
I would say if you love old homes, just go for it. I did not tell my dad or my in-laws at the time that I was buying this house, because they would tear it apart. My in-laws lived around the corner. They wanted to buy their house. They had a ranch. It just wasn't for me. And I have a certain style, and I didn't want somebody to be like, you can't do that. Why are you doing that? I did that 10 years ago. Why are you moving it?
Exactly. Yeah, that's probably
And then
not a
my
great
dad,
idea.
who grew up in Italy, which is like ancient, right? In terms of like my house is young compared to a lot of places there, 700, 1,000 years old. He is the most handy, hardworking guy I know, but a little bit of a pessimist when it comes to homes or certain projects, especially if his kids are investing. So I didn't tell him either because I knew he was going to pick it apart. After I bought it, I told him. He was a little bit mad at me, but I said, Dad, if I would have brought you here, you would have talked me out of it.
Right.
And I'm right, because I know that that's what he would have done, but all in love. And I get it. Yeah. He loves this place now. My mom loves the home. So I would say, follow your heart, do the right thing. Don't ever forego inspections and all that kind of stuff. But it's a feeling. If you love old homes, when you walk in the right one, you're just going to be like, this is it. Like when I walked in here, I was like, wow, this is home. And that's what I said. I was longing for, a feeling of home. So I say, do the right thing structurally, but follow your heart. You see beyond the paint, the rug, the wallpaper, and just, if you can vision yourself living there, visualize, it's for you.
That is a very good point. So how can people follow along on your journey?
So I have an Instagram account, which is dedicated to my home. Once in a while, I'll put a funny picture or something. Like, it's actually home, family, and food, because that's my mantra. That's how I grew up. So it's all about that. So you'll see me cooking sometimes or sharing a recipe, but I really don't put too much about myself or my personal life. But if you want ideas, if you like maximalism, or you just want to learn how to put things together or get an idea or DIY project, on Want to Be Decorator is my WAN as in Nancy, the number 2, the letter B, and then decorator.
I do. I love your account, and I do find it inspiring. So I'm going to get some furry stuff. I guess that's what I'm missing right now.
It's great. It does add interest.
Thank you for listening, and thank you so much for sharing this show with your friends. It is growing all the time, and I really appreciate that. I would love to hear from you if you have anything to say about this episode or past episodes, good or bad, or a suggestion for a new episode. Send me an email at thehousemaven@talkinghomerenovations.com. Talking Home Renovations with the House Maven is a proud member of Gable Media, the most engaged AEC network on the planet. Check out my other show and all the rest of the shows at gablemedia.com. That's GABLMEDIA.com. And until next time, take it easy.
Part 3 is a collaborative, data-driven construction administration software built for architects and engineers. With Part 3, you'll complete your administrative tasks faster than ever before. You'll streamline your submittals, RFIs, change documents, and field reports with automation and intelligence. Stop wasting time on tedious tasks. Schedule a free demo of this transformative automation tool today at part3.io/get-started. That's part3.io/get-started. Experience construction administration performance today with Part 3. Are you tired of dealing with generic IT providers that rely on you to be the expert? Ask yourself, does my IT provider understand the software tools that I'm using on a daily basis? If I'm on a deadline and lose access to my project files, is my IT provider available 24/7 to help me? Does my IT provider help me select and integrate new software? When you're focusing on problems like these, you're not working on your next big project. ArcIT is here to help. We focus on solving technology for architecture firms so that you can focus on doing your best work. Find us at getarchit.com. That's getarchit.com, and click Work with Us.